Hey guys, so today I'm going to need you to watch this video, stay here until the very end because I'm going to go over a few things that you're going to need for the upcoming week after this one with your midterm, okay? So today we're actually going to be talking about interest groups. First off, what are they, all right? They're organizations of individuals that share common interests, goals, or policy objectives, and they seek to influence government decision making and public policy. Interest groups focus specifically on different issues and work to shape legislation, regulations, and government actions in ways that benefit their members or advance their specific causes, right? Because interest groups are all kind of different. They cover a lot of different things. We'll go into just a little bit of that. But anything really that you would be interested in changing in the country or in the government, there's probably an interest group out there that would help you with that or support whatever action it is that you yourself are wanting to take. The first modern interest groups in the United States started to take shape in the early 18th and 19th centuries. Currently, there are over 10,000 active just inside the United States. Now, interest groups work to change public policy, and they do this through a number of different ways through lobbying, speaking to public officials directly, campaign contributions, many times through something called PACs or super PACs. These are political action committees trying to get candidates elected whose ideals generally tend to fall in line with their own. Public education, grassroots mobilization, that's trying to get the public to get the attention of their elected officials themselves, right? So, like the letters and things like that that you have to write for class, should everybody write that letter about the same situation, the same subject, and send that in to the representatives, that would be considered a form of grassroots lobbying, right? Where the people are reaching out to the candidates themselves, okay? Uh, Litigation, this is suing to try and change laws, right? We see this happen a lot in Brown v. the Board of Education. The NAACP helped get those laws changed so that schools would stop being segregated. A lot of the times, these things cross over with other interest groups, which brings us to something called coalition building, making alliances with other agencies or interest groups that are pushing for the same things that they are. Because the more people that are pushing for something, the more likely it is to happen. If you're screaming about something by yourself, it's very unlikely that a lot of people are going to listen. Okay, having a bigger platform means more people. So if 100 people get together, there's more of a chance of someone listening. 1,000 people, 100,000 people. The more people that are involved in a movement, the better chance it's going to be taken seriously by the government. All right. Now, interest groups may sound a lot like political parties, but they have their differences, okay? The main primary goal of an interest group is to influence government policy making, decision making on specific issues. They don't aim to win elections, they don't aim to govern, but rather to advocate for certain causes or interests inside of the country. Now, political parties, their main goal is to win elections and to gain control of government institutions. They aim to govern by securing political power, crafting policies, and representing broader constituents throughout the country. So sometimes all of the things in a political party may not line up with what you believe in, but you may go with that political party because it's more in line than other groups. Whereas interest groups, you can get way more specific on the things that you're trying to push for. Now, there are interest groups that cover almost all aspects of really anything that you would want to look into. Healthcare, workers' conditions, there's even religious organizations inside of these interest groups and these lobbying organizations. And by joining these groups, people gain more of a voice than they would have without them. It gives them another way to be involved with the political process outside of just voting. Now, lobbying plays a massive part in this, and inside the function of interest groups. And there's a lot of people that have fear that this is going to bring on corruption and the way that it's practiced. That's why that over time laws have been passed to make sure that they function ethically. The Federal Regulations and Lobbying Act of 1964, its main goal was to increase transparency about who was being lobbied, who was lobbying the federal government. And it required the lobbyists to register their to excuse me to register and report their activities. Now, the Lobbying Disclosure Act would take place in 1995. The Act significantly updates and expands the federal regulations of Lobbying Act. It aims to enhance transparency, to improve the accuracy of lobbying disclosures, amongst other things. And then we have the Honest Leadership and Open Government Act of 2007. Now, this act requires more detailed disclosure of lobbying activities and expenditures, including specific issues lobbied on the same name of officials contacted. This actually sets a bar. Any lobbying activity that goes over $3,000 has to be reported, which now that would be pretty much everything that's being done. There's also been laws put into place to get rid of something called revolving door politics, or they're called revolving door restrictions. Okay, now this act imposes stricter restrictions on former members of Congress or high-level executives, branch officials who become lobbyists. It puts a time frame on how long they have to wait before they can get into this. Okay, it involves a cooling off period before they're actually allowed to start lobbying, so they don't have an extreme amount of access to different people in government. Now, Texas itself is no stranger to lobbying. There's just a few instances that I'll go over with you right now. Voto Latino, it blocked SB 1111 in U.S. district courts. It ruled in favor of Voto Latino and its partners. Okay, in August 2022, it halted the implementation of overly restrictive voter residency requirements that could have suppressed minority votes. Now, another example of lobbying taking place in Texas with interest groups that paid off for them was the Public Citizens v. Texas. It influenced renewable energy policies, helped push through legislation that required Texas to develop 5,880 megawatts of new renewable energy sources, and contributed to the creation of Texas's emission reduction plan. Okay, strengthening consumer protections. It plays key roles in enhancing Texas lemon laws and establishes a stronger ethics commission for the state of Texas. Now, this week, you're going to have your normal things that you would generally do for class. You're going to have your quiz. You're going to have a journal entry over interest groups and how you feel that they pertain to Texas, whether you think that it's a good thing or a bad thing. And then you're going to have one more thing in that file for you this week. It's actually going to be a comprehensive review because the midterm is coming up the week after. It's going to be proctored, which means that you're going to have to use the lockdown browser and a webcam to be able to take the midterm exam. All right. This is going to be a relatively short video. I'll add another one from someone else to kind of help round out some of this stuff when it comes to lobbying and interest groups. But get through this, study for the exam. I promise if you study the review, you're going to do just fine. And I will see you guys in the next video.